Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thanks for joining us this Monday evening, July 23rd. Tonight, we focus on two items: the movie theater massacre and the questions that have arisen, and the Penn State penalties. We will begin here with the movie theater massacre and the alleged shooter appearing in court today. Let's go to ABC's Brandi Hitt, live from Colorado with the latest.
Talk about a bizarre day in court. James Holmes looked confused the entire time, and he never looked at the judge, his attorney, or the victims' families.
You have a right to remain silent.
With dyed orange hair, 24-year-old James Holmes sat silent in a Colorado courtroom, looking dazed and tired.
Given the nature of the charges, you are currently being held on a no bond hold.
This is our first look at Holmes since Friday morning, when police say he opened fire inside a movie theater, killing 12 people and injuring dozens more. Some of the victims' family members were in court watching his every move. Others waited outside.
I'm trying to not deal with the anger, and, you know, it's a decision when you feel like you can forgive the guy.
Holmes is being held on a single murder charge, while the district attorney prepares to file more charges this week.
I would say there's no such thing as a slam dunk case. It is a case where we're still looking at the enormous amount of evidence.
Police spent the weekend detonating booby traps inside Holmes's apartment and removing explosives. Detectives are now combing through the contents of his computer and say his home was full of Batman paraphernalia.
The family wants to reiterate that their hearts go out to the victims and their families.
Amazing grace. Today's hearing also comes after an emotional weekend for the community of Aurora. Thousands attended a prayer vigil Sunday, and President Obama met with the victims' families. While the DA is considering the death penalty in this case, she says she first wants to consult the families.
And victims will be impacted by that decision in an enormous way for years if the death penalty is sought. And Holmes will be back in court Monday morning for his arraignment. We are told that he could plea at this time, and we will be finding out exactly what charges he'll be facing. Reporting live in Centennial, Colorado, Brandi Hitt, ABC News. Now back to you.
All right, Brandi, thank you very much. Now, tonight, when it comes to this tragic situation in Colorado, we're going to focus our coverage really on three things. First off, we will remember the victims. And by now, we all know the alleged shooter's name and storyline, but tonight, we're going to remember those that we've lost here. We remember the names of the past. And we'll also focus on profiles in courage. In a moment of utter inhumanity, heroism showed up here, and with some unbelievable acts of bravery, those giving their lives to save others. And then we assess the root here of yet another tragedy, the tragedy at the end of a gun. While we may not agree, and we don't, about what to do about guns in America, I think and hope we can all agree that we certainly have a problem with the amount of people who are dying or being victims of gun violence in this country. And we're going to start with the assumption that we at least acknowledge we can and need to do better. And we're going to have a debate about what to do about it. So tonight, I want to start off with at least some common ground. We all agree, the Founding Fathers said, that we have a right to bear arms. Now, at that point, I think, is where the unanimity ends. But I think there's more common ground. We're not going to talk this hour about an absolute ban on guns. That's a waste of time, and it's not really the issue. We're also hopefully not going to say that the answer to this is, let's just arm people even more than they are right now in the country. So where is that middle? And I tell you, I have three simple questions that I'd like you at home to weigh in on. We'll bring our experts and our panel in as well. Can we have laws in this country that allow us to bear arms while at the same time not allowing us to arm ourselves like we're going to war? Tonight I want to know if we need to have assault weapons made available to the general public. Tonight I want to know why we need to have body armor when our own police forces sometimes can't afford it, but will allow the general public to have that as well. And then I want to know why you need to get a license to get a fish, but not a license to own something that in many cases is designed to, in effect, inflict as much punishment and violence as possible when we're talking about some of these assault weapons. So what I want to talk about with you at home, and I'll bring into our conversation, is can we find some common ground? Can we inject some sanity in this conversation? Because I, for one, am tired of one thing. I'm tired of every other month or so reporting some senseless tragedy when some lunatic at the end of a gun here that honestly should be on a battlefield, not a city street, or in this case, a movie theater, should be taking lives so senselessly, and then we memorialize those, both heroes and even children here, at the end of the gun.